Hello, it is Lord Haywire. I'm streaming some 2D4X like I often do on the weekends, almost every weekend. This is my little chat thing. It pops up every time now over there because I changed how I do it, and it still doesn't work sometimes. 2D4X is an open source video game that I'm working on. It keeps disappearing because I'm double checking that this is working, and it's not. It's not working. Um, it's open source. It's a strategy game inspired by like Godot, Dominions. It's written in Godot. That's what I was .NET, the C# version. I should have this thing down, but it's this clicking this thing over here makes me, I'm thinking about two things at once, and it doesn't work. It still doesn't. There we go. I think it's working. Anyways, this is a great start to my stream. I think it's working. I'm gonna do a test. I try to not do a test anymore because it seems to cause people to not post on YouTube. I don't know why. Okay, but it worked. All right, so what do we got going today? So what we're gonna do today is we added this thing where it shows the amount produced. So I did a test before I ran or started the stream, and I noticed that there was some mistakes here that we have to fix. So this is what we were working on last time, and this is what we want, which is the amount of work done versus the cost down here. And so it's 165 out of 200. That's right. But what it's doing up here now is it's putting in this number, which then the player would have to do the math, and so if you divide it 337 by 0.02, that's the amount that it supposedly produced the day before, and we don't want that. We don't want them to have to do the math. So I've added in some issues, and this is for production of goods. So a couple of issues, and we need this also to say something different. So what we want it to say is what it was produced yesterday, because that's what this number is. And it's going to be different than this number over here. This is goods produced per day. We actually should change that to average. It's not an average, though, actually. It's going to it's like the lowest amount. Goods produced, yes, or goods produced without bonuses, because you can get bonus goods by your guys rolling a skill check. And that's how, like, if you put guys who are better at working in whatever this place is, the Fisher Shed, let's say, they're going to produce more than this number. So we need to, it's not average, goods produced per day. We need to rename that, actually. And I think I just renamed it. So we're going to rename it again. And I guess we'll pop open we'll do that first because that's easy. We'll pop open the localization file, and we will do that. Localization. And so we got to make a decision here, though. So this is going to be a phrase. So we have goods produced. We have, is it at the bottom still? We do goods produced per day. Goods produced per day without bonus. I think that will work. Phrase, goods produced per day without bonus. And then we'll put goods produced per day. Oh man, I keep hitting tab because that's what it does in Visual Studio, whatever. It goes to the end, but in Excel it doesn't do that. It goes to the next cell. Without bonus. And then we'll translate this to Spanish. These translations are not very good, but that's what we've been using. We'll have a real Spanish speaker deal with that eventually, because they're probably all kind of bad at just Excel translating it. I mean, that can't be good, right? Then we're going to go back over to here. Actually, we got to copy this. This needs to be copied. Go back over here. We're going to go to this container. Yes. What does this say? We'll do that. Make sure that it doesn't go to the next line, because if it does, it's busted. So we have that in there, but then we also need, let's search for this just to make sure that this isn't in the code somewhere, because I think it might be. All right. It is not. All right, then we're going to also need another one. Phrase goods produced yesterday. Goods produced yesterday. Should this all be caps? I guess it should, because it's a title. Whoops. And what am I doing here? I forgot to translate it. Did I translate it? No, I didn't. There we go. So then we'll bring this in. So we're going to need a couple of different things to happen here. But it's already somewhat in the code. It's right here. So if it's not producing, if the county improvement is not producing, it does this, the average daily amount. If this is producing, we're going to want to do goods panel, container. I don't know if I have goods title. No, I don't. So this is going to be, we're going to have to jump over to this thing. It's good panel container is what it's called. And I do have it open. So we have the good label, user imminent checkbox, only produce checks box. Yeah, that's something we're going to deal with later. Is that right? Good panel? No, that's a different thing. We need to go find this on here. This is in here. And it should be at the top. But I can't remember what it's called, otherwise I would just search for it and jump to it. Workers, progress title, no. It's down here-ish. Maybe I don't have it. Output grid container. I don't think I see it here. So it's this one. Goods produced per day. Label. I think I can search in here. Goods. No, so we don't have it on here. So we just need to add it in. And it's going to go under, not progress, workers, construction. Where are we putting the other thing? Input output grid, plus or minus workers. It's right here. Oh, I upgraded. Oh, we need to change the README. I upgraded to, I might actually have the README open. I do. The newer version, Dev 4. They're slowly working on making it so that changes you do, from what I understand at least, changes that you do in the local, this part of the local thing will reflect in-game, which actually just happened here. When I made that change, this broke because of we haven't imported the Excel thing again. Whoops, I think the game's running. It is. We don't want it to run right now. Goods produced per day is what we need. So that's over here. And I guess, so need this thing back up to look at it. This is right below max workers. Max workers number label, max workers button. So we should put it right here. Public, this is a label. Goods produced per day, title, label. Yeah, look at that beautiful, beautiful fucking label or variable. Oh, I still have something on my clipboard that I want. It's way down here. So here, this is not on the good label. That's a different thing. Produce per day label text is going to equal. Where did that shit come from at the end there? Goods phrase, goods produced yesterday. I think we're going to need to put this little TR in here, but we'll see what happens. So we have that. We almost, on these, I think they almost always have to be translated. I don't know why. Sometimes it works, sometimes it, and I haven't figured out the logic behind it. So is that the only thing? I'm trying to also say less, which as you can probably tell, I go through this phase where I'm like, I want to say less. So there's like filler words. I want to say less filler words when I stream, and then I'd stop caring about it. So for this, so this is producing. We need another thing in here that's if the fish is, if the, I actually wrote it down here. Work cost is lower than the daily production, then the math needs to be done. So this is here, where these are produced yesterday. Then this next part is where we need to do the other thing. So we need an if statement in here. There's probably a better way to do this. We'll have ChatGPT take a look at it. ChatGPT seems to work pretty well for improving my code. Not always, but sometimes. It like making it less pyramid of if-then statements. So if the county improvement data work cost, no, we moved it somewhere. Where did we put it? I can't remember. It was a weekend ago. I can't remember anything that far in the past. County improvement data. Where did we stick that? I think I deleted all the extra stuff, so we should be good there. Oh, there was a thing. A filler word. I like flip-flopped all over the place on how to do this, and then I finally decided, oh, I called it production data. That's what I called it. And it's put in there. We drag and drop it. I'm in the wrong spot. Production, where are we going through each one? Add, we are, production data is being put right there. So we need to do if production data dot work cost is less than or equal to. So if it's 1 and it's 1. Oh, I did it again. County improvement work amount for each resource. Work amount for each resource. The daily production. If the work cost is lower than the daily production, then the math needs to be done. The math we're doing is right here. So if the work cost is less than or equal to the work amount for each resource, then we need to go goods panel text equals the math of this. So we'll put this up here. So and then we'll multiply work cost. Here we'll put this an int produced yesterday, and this is going to be 0, And then we're going to say, well, actually, we can just do the math right here. Oh, there's another filler word. Times work cost. And then we go like this. Oh, what are these floats? So these we can cast as an int, I think. Except I think something weird happened last time. There we go. We'll see what happens. But I think something here weird last time happened when I cast those as ints. I can't remember what the weird thing was. And then we just put in here, produced yesterday. And then we can make this. I try to make this as readable as possible for chat here, which is why there's so many things just crammed, you know, it goes down. Like even this is, I should probably make this a fuck it, I'll do it like that. So good name, produced yesterday. If the work cost is less than the work amount for each resource. Yes, that should work. Then on this, we need an else in here. And else we do this. And then this, the player will have to do the math. Whoops. We got to move this over here, though. Which is kind of a bummer, but it's not the end of the world. It all makes sense to their brains. No, they won't have to do the math. It'll make sense. I mean, they will have to do math, but it will be very basic math. It will be like 5 out of 200, you know. Now we need to re-import this Excel file because we made changes to it. I need to close it then too. And re-import. This was killing me when before I figured out that I had to re-import this all the time. It was killing me. I was like, why doesn't this work like half the time? And I'm listening to music that you guys can't hear. And it has gotten to bad music. And so I'm changing it while we're waiting for that. We need to build something. Let's do the Fisher's Shed because that has the first thing. And let's do the scouting equipment because that has the second thing. And then, I don't know why I use like a vagabond for the scouting equipment icon, but there we go. All right, those are both done. Oh. Oh, I didn't drag over this thing. Did not drag over this thing. I think there's something wrong here. The 4. Dev 4 might have some issues here. We're missing a bunch of stuff. Like on every... it has the thing we need to drag over, which is kind of funny. This happened with Dev 2. It was completely busted. And it's funny that they release it. So there's you know, it's a dev version, so you know, you can expect it to have issues. But such major issues, I wonder if they tested it all before they release it. Like they probably test the GD script stuff. I shouldn't have upgraded, but that's what we get, right? Let's construct our thing here. We might have to roll it back. Dev 3 was good. There was actually like I subscribed to an issue. And there was someone kind of like flipping out about how Dev 2 was so busted. And I kind of agreed with them because like they didn't test it. So Dev 2, you couldn't build the C# version. And it just didn't work. So it's like how much, like that's completely broken. Like how much should they test it? All right, so we're seeing a 0 out of 2. I think there's something wrong here. Because this should be, like a day hasn't passed. What does this say? Work amount for each resource. We can do this differently. Instead of testing against work amount for each resource, we would say I think what's happening is there's no work has been produced yet. The thing just got built, and yeah, it just got built, so it hasn't produced any work yet. So there's 0 there. Let's see what happens when a day passes here. Yeah, so it produced 0 fish. It's probably the int thing. And 0 wood and 50. This is right. I wrote a little thing. Well, let's figure out the first issue. So if the work cost is, what does production data look like? I can't even remember. I created that not very long ago, last weekend, I think. And I can't remember. Let's take a look here. What are we looking at? Resources. Generic production has, oh, we can't look at it because this is so busted. Okay, let's open this up again. So like you expect with the dev version, to be running into all sorts of bugs, but you don't expect, it's to be completely broken. See, these are back again. Let's go. Oh, there's a filler word. Let's go back to generic production. These are all here. Work cost. Today's amount generated. Is that what I used? I can't remember my mental logic. Work amount after skill check, work cost, work amount left over, today's amount, average daily amount, storage, work amount after skill check, work cost. And then some of this stuff is on the county improvement because we need to store things differently. We could move it all to the production things. Where am I looking here? Then over here we got for outputs, all daily work amount and improvement completed, daily resource amount generated. Those aren't used, I thought. I got rid of these ones. I don't think those are used. Let's get rid of them. If they're not used, let's just get them the fuck out of here. Because otherwise it's just extra garbage that we have to look at. I totally thought I deleted those last weekend. We don't need this. Adjusted workers, daily, yeah. I've just put a note on them. And then, okay, so we did use this somewhere. Oh. Oh. We don't need that. And we'll deal with these messages pretty soon, too. I said that last weekend as well. No more bugs over there. So the all daily work amount at improvement completed. This is saved here. Yeah, that's the only thing that's saved there. We got to figure out a way to basically check this without it going to 0, checking against 0, because the 0 is, there's going to be the first day nothing's built. So if we have the first day of nothing built, then so if so let's think about this actually. Point 2, if we go back to here, I think if it's greater than 0, we can do it. Oh, I almost did it. I almost did filler word. So if we look at scouting equipment and we look at the production data, the work cost is larger than that. And if this, we can look, the work cost is less. The work cost is less. This is more. This is money? Yeah, this is money. And money worked. It's more, but it's less than a certain the other amount. The so the work cost is 2, the work generated is like 50 or something. So that's why we got 25 of those. Actually, how many did we get? And I like to look at the GitHub just to see about this issue of things, if it's just me or if it's them too. Let's build 2 more of these. I mean, not 2 more. 1 of each. Okay. Man, my nose has been all itchy today. Yeah, I think this is the int issue, but so yeah, that's 54. So we generated like 100 or something. And this is the same thing. This is working how we want it to do. Oh, here's the yesterday thing is working. Goods produced per day without bonus is working. So we would get 0.25 of a, you get a quarter of a primitive scouting equipment. I mean, that's some basic math I'm hoping that that the player could do in their head. So you would, it would take 4 days to get one of those. And this is approximately, this is about, but when they're getting a bonus of 10. So that's why that's higher. So they'll probably get it sooner. But this thing, so to test this, back to this thing, we can't test it. How did we do this other math for the average daily? Because that might help us figure out average daily amount. How are we getting that number? Generate average daily amount. Max workers times globals instance.daily work amount divided by production data dot work cost. Let's look over here. So that's 0.25 up here. This number is kind of a bullshit number though, because it's just for the player. It's not actually how it's just so that when you're building this, you can be like, oh, this thing makes approximately 2,500. I guess I could have put an approximate work amount per day. It is without the bonus though. And it does like round up though. So if it was 2,499, it would round it up to 2,500. But we could test against this average daily thing. And if it's greater than 0, then it does it the other way. Let's see if that works. I'm in the wrong spot again. Let's see if that works. If this is the work cost, at this point it should already have the average daily amount generated. I hope. I think and hope. Okay. We need to produce a couple of things. Fisher's shed. And wait for a day, those are produced. Wait for another day, they should be in production here. We still have the 0 issue, so we can't really tell until we fix the 0 issue. So this work amount for each resource, one of these is probably dividing by 0 or something is the issue. It usually bugs out when we get it divide by 0 because it's turning this int. It's turning this, where did we go here? It's right in front of my face. It's turning this into an int, and work cost is actually 0.2 or something. So this actually can't be an int. But if we make this a float, I have a feeling that what's going to happen is we're going to get some weird little number, like some weird dangling bullshit. And then we'll have to, I already wrote a method, I think, for it, to sealing that, but it's not a real number. You know, it's going to be a partial number. So we'll have to deal with, I had a feeling this float thing would be a problem. Because floats always act strange. Strange to a human, not strange to a programmer. Machines. All right, there's one. And day 2, yeah, see, we get this weird thing here. 0.59. That's not even right. That number isn't even right. I thought we were going to get a, 2,500 time, 0.59999 like that. So maybe my math is just basic. My base math is wrong here. Produced yesterday. Work amount for each resource divided by the cost equals this. Yeah, not multiplied, divided by, because the work cost would be 0.02, and by 100, that would give you 10 or whatever. That's not the right math. Give you 50, give you 5, give you a number. I did that earlier before I started streaming too. I multiplied this instead of divide. I don't know what that. I'm saying that everyone should be able to do basic math, and here I am over here not doing basic math. Whoops, we didn't want that. It's fine though. We want this. We'll have to wait another day. But it's good to test weird things. So, not weird things, completely normal things. Fisher shed is completed. Everything else is completed. 1,500 fish, 1,500 wood. And 0 of 2. They don't have any workers there, so that makes sense. 1,500 seems like too good of a number, because it should be changing each day. Oh, I forgot I needed to delete. We need to clear out this other number. I'm gonna let it run for a couple days. Okay, so it's not, I was worried it was always 1,500 or 500 or something. It is not. If we go up to here, it's not doing 2,500 though either. How are we doing this? Average amount generated, we just looked at that. It should be, wait. If work cost is less than or equal to average amount generated, no, that's not what we want. We want, if average amount generated is less than or equal or is greater than 0. That's what we want. These are the same though. Oh, but we're doing the actual math here. Then that's correct. So this is we're doing the actual math here. And then we show because this is smaller. So this is greater than. I'm suddenly wondering if we need to show this, the actual, I think we're going to need to, because otherwise it's going to look strange. Let's prioritize this and see what happens here. That's supposed to be working. Yeah, so now 4 people are working here, because these aren't prioritized. So it looks like there's nobody at the warehouse. There's only 5 people working, which is strange. There should be 10 people working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's look at this. 1. Oh, now there's 6 working. But why are these other people not working? Oh, because they're probably We're already, well, this one's unhelpful, so he's not going to work at all. And these guys might be, yeah, their favorite activity is scavenging that person. That was a weird, oh, so is this, oh no, that's their current activity. Their interest is politics. Okay. Preferred work is research. And they can't do that. I wonder, so I think they have to, they stop scavenging once. Oh, there's my filler word. I think they stop scavenging. I should write this down so I can look at it without and go through the code every time. But I think they stop scavenging when they they do a check, so they're scavenging until their check fails. But back to this thing. 95 of 200, and this is 10,000. This is going wrong because it's not subtracting the thing. It's not clearing it off. So for work amount after, so we could put this in here. We can go produced, county improvement data, work amount for resource equals 0 right here. So that's going to do that. But then here we don't want it to do that. What we want is if, I thought I did this. I thought I did it with another spot where it says, I guess these are all just labels. I thought I already did this, but I guess I didn't. I guess we just talked about it. I like to talk a lot, so under this one, this is going to set the work amount, and then over here, if county improvement data work amount for each resource, no. How are we adding this work amount per resource? My spaghetti here is turning into spaghetti. Work amount for each resource. I can't remember how we're generating that number. Okay, so it equals this. Work amount divide the number of goods the improvement generates by the work amount. Ignore the remainder because we don't care. So we have that. Okay, so this is adding it in. I already feel like there's a better way. It's adding it on top of this. And this is if it's the work cost is less than the work amount for each resource, which it should be. It keeps adding it in. Otherwise, it replaces it. So, okay. So that's means that down here, if work amount, come on, work amount for each resource is greater than the production data work cost, then, man, this game is going to need some serious rewrites. Refactoring, as they like to call it. If this is over or equal to, is greater than or equal to, then production data goods, what did I call it? Produced something, produced today. We need to, what are we doing with this number? I know it was assigning. Are we returning good panel container? That's not what we want. All this is being done in the goods panel. Oh, this isn't right. Some of this is we can't have this math actually in here. Because if we have this is the AI needs to use the math. It doesn't need the fucking UI stuff, obviously. So let's not do this. So we need to rearrange kind of how this works. So let's do this. So when this thing when we're adding to this, we're generating the average daily amount. This can't be here either. All right, we need to do this in two different like ways. We need one thing that just adds to the, I wonder if I have other like input goods and shit that are set up this way. These are just adding columns and things. Okay, I'm not doing that. All right, so what we need to do, there needs to be a step before this where we do all of the math and then we just use that math that's already generated to apply to the UI. I'm glad I noticed that because I'd be wondering 2 months from now why we're not getting AI generating anything. So generate average daily amount needs to be somewhere else. Let's go back to how the flow goes. Calculate work to goods production. So this hits every county, gets this, and this is on the banker. So let's go to here. And we do this part. Okay, so let's cut this. This needs to go over wherever that was. That's the banker. Where are you, Mr. Banker? There you are. So calculate work to goods production. This should go through the list of completed county improvements to do the math to generate the goods they generate. I like doing that because I think it's funny. I'm the only one who probably thinks it's funny, but I like to do that. This should go through the list of completed county improvements to do the math to generate the goods they generate. So let's do this to generate. Generate the data, the production data. So it's going to go through each county improvement in the completed county improvement list. And if the county output good dot count is greater than 0 and the max workers is greater than 0, divide the number of goods. And I always think this is weird that we're using max workers, but there is probably some logic behind that. Divide the number of goods the improvement generates by the work amount. Ignore the remainder because we don't care. Okay, so this is getting us the work amount. What is this thing I have in my clipboard? Generate average daily amount. Okay, so this is going to go, it's going to get a work amount for each resource. We're going to break this into a bunch of little methods too, I think. Generate the, oh, this was in the average, or this was in the UI part because it only matters to the player, but now we've put some math in there that it's checking this. So we need this to be, this is going to be generated every day. I don't think we need to do this every day. We can do this. We'll do it every day, but we'll put a note in here because one day we're going to want to go back through and optimize this. Generate the average daily, no, it's no longer called the average daily. It's called generate the goods produced without bonuses. So then we're going to go rename this. I can't rename it because it's got an error in it. So where do we get our production data here from? We're not to the production data part, so we got to move this. Here is where we get some production data. Work amount. If the work amount is less than that, let's put this up here because everyone is going to need this. We're going to need the key value. This is going to be key value pair dot value dot, what was the thing? That's it. We just need to pass in a production value. Then we can save this. We can rename this to goods generate, goods produced without bonuses. It's not a real number, but all right, so that's going to pass that in. This is for every improvement. It's going to do this every day, which is, let's put that in there, like I said. This is going to do this every day, though we only really need it to happen currently once the county improvement is created, is built. All right. So then it goes to this. Work amount for each resource equals 0. Work amount, it returns, it busts out of here. Work amount. So up here, it's done the work. It's done that calculation. And then it checks to make sure. And if it's, I wonder if, can you put it, let's see, for each with a if statement in there? That'd be interesting. For each with an if statement, C#. No. Yes, this thing. This is exactly what I want to do. For each var car in cars, if is not a contains car, magic happens. Try using take while. Let's ask ChatGPT. It sometimes, like I said, ChatGPT doesn't know what it's talking about, but on C# stuff, it's usually pretty good. I'm just going to put that in there and see what it returns. It does not. It croaked partway through. Oh, it gave us a different answer too. Can the for each have, I'm going to put the word condition check in it. See, so this is from 2010 as well. Oh, it has this thing where you can filter the collection. That's not what we want. We can do. We'll just do it this way, and then we'll see what it says later. We could try this other way though. This one. What does it say? Note that this is just simple single, just an if statement nested with no brackets. Oh, is that all that is? Oh, all right. So I guess ChatGPT was right. So what the fuck was I doing? I was leaving. No, there's the. So we bust out after this. We need this to happen first because they all need to have this, I guess, every day. If the work amount is less than the work cost, no good is produced. This is how we will get our progress bar amounts. But we need to set those other numbers. I think this needs to be set to 0 on the spot. So we actually have some of these numbers already being done, and we add it to the county resource. So there's the problem is I'm like duplicating our work over here. And this shouldn't be doing any math over here. And this isn't math. I know it looks like math, but it's not math. Oh wait, no, this is math. No, this one isn't the math. This one is wherever it went. This is the math. And this math is also only for the player. This should already be happening, it looks like, over here. Over here. Banker, where'd you go? There you are. Calculate the number of items built. Today's amount generated equals this. Today's amount generated equals 0. If the county improvement, so we need to do that some of that 0 math and shit over here. I'm going to put it, did I have a change here? No, I'm going to make a change so that I can easily find this again. This shouldn't be here. Let's start with this one. Yeah, let's start with this one. And we'll go through the bankers thing. We also got to double check, make sure my code's better. So this is bailing out of this because it doesn't, we don't need it to do anything. If the work amount is less than the work code, no good is produced. This is how we'll get our progress bar. We're not doing the progress bar anymore. This is how we get our, what the fuck is that called? Fraction of completed work amount via the work amount left over. If it's less than the work cost, work amount for each resource is less than the work cost. Isn't this the thing we were just had an issue with though? Work amount, yeah, so the first day it's going to be zeros. Maybe. Let's see if this worked. We reset the total, today's amount generated. I think this needs to be at a different spot. If the work amount for each resource is less than the work cost, so the work amount is like 150 and the work cost is 0.02. Is this an int or a float? Because that's going to be a thing. That's a float. And this is a float. Okay. So the work amount is 150 and the work cost is 0.2. It would go to this other thing. If the work cost is, no, it would go to this other thing. If the work amount is 100 and the work cost, which we can look over here, in our production data, scouting equipment is 200. We do this, except we're gonna run into a problem right here because this isn't right, because if the work amount might be over, I guess that's not true. Yes, it is true. So if this works until we get a full thing. So we need to once again check against something else. So the work amount for each resource, let's pretend this doesn't exist. Let's just like not look at that for a second and like go from the start here. If the work amount for each resource is greater, oh, I remember now. There was this thing. What we need to do instead, there was a thing where I was going to have it loop through, and I didn't want to loop it through because it'd just be like a bunch of loops of extra work when we could just divide. Okay, so this is what we need to do. We need to check if there's a remainder, I think. So we take the work amount for each resource, we divide it by the work cost. Stinko Wings, how's it going? Long time no see. How's your Saturday? If it is Saturday where you are. Work amount for each resource, if we divide and we get a remainder, we're going to have, well, let's see. No, we do this. Lazy is good. You know, I used to worry about being lazy, but I love being, I always joke that that's my prime requisite. You know, my prime skill is being lazy. Like, try to figure out the laziest way to do everything. Like, can I do this from me lying in bed? That's my prime goal, is just to be lying in bed. And can I take out the trash while I'm lying in bed? Turns out no. I can eat chips while I'm lying in bed, though. I do that all the time. Even though my mom, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, don't eat chips in bed. You're going to get chips everywhere. And I get chips everywhere, but I just brush them off my bed when I'm done. Onto the floor. Improvement name. So I think the way we got to do this is we got to take this number. Actually, we need a number. Today's amount generated. Is this a float? This is also a float, so this will work. So we need to take today's amount generated, and it needs to equal this number divided by the work cost. Isn't it the dream? Just laying in bed eating chips. It's crazy. This is not that crazy. All right, it's not that crazy. I've been buying Lay's sour cream and onion chips for years. That's like one of my favorite type of chip. And over the past 6 months, the taste has slowly changed, and the price has gone up and the taste has slowly changed to where I'm like, these are kind of gross. And I don't know if it's something to do with me. Like, my mouth suddenly doesn't like the sour cream and onion chips anymore. Or I've eaten too many of them, because I'm like laying in bed just gobbling down. So that's the other thing. It seems like a lot of products, the shit has gotten more expensive and has been, the quality's gone out. So I switched brands to the generic brand of sour cream and onion chips. I could hold them up, but I'm not going to do it. They're right here next to me because it's next to my bed. My bed's behind me. Anyways, they're just like the generic, whatever, Kroger's or whatever. And they taste totally different than a normal, which is what you would expect, than a Lay's brand one. But they taste amazing. So I was like, and they're like half the price. And so they taste way different. Like, it's not the same chip, but I don't know. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. Once again, I don't know if it's my palate that's changed or what. All right. So now we have this total amount, or today's amount generated. But I save money doing it too, which is nice. Because it's like $5 or something for a bag of chips. I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up. I'm suddenly curious how much a bag of chips costs. I feel like it's ridiculous. I'm doing it on my other screen because I don't want you guys to see. I don't like it. Might have my address or some shit on here. I'm just curious. It's the price of chips is important to me. So let's see. I didn't buy chips last time. What's wrong with me? I want to look at this. These are $1.99. The Kroger sour cream and onion are $1.99. The $3.99 for the Lay's version. 7.75 ounces. 7.7. Yeah, they're half the price. That's fucking crazy. How can that? All right. If this is less than or equal to 0, is what we're going to do here. Yeah, it's half the price for. Today's amount generated is less than or equal. So we're dividing. Let's make sure I'm doing this math right. Work amount for each. Yeah, so this should give us some weird number. So the work amount for each resource is like 100. For scouting equipment, it's going to be like 100 divided by 200, which would give us 0.5, and that's less than 0. And if it's fish, it's going to be like 100 divided by 0.02 or some shit. And so that's going to be greater than whatever, 0. So I think that's should work. So we have this number now. And so if it's less than or equal to 0, then we keep the work amount. Let's say if it's greater than, because I think this is just greater than 0. I did that on the other spot too. I'm pointing over my shoulder like it's not. So if it's greater than 0, we clear out. We can't clear this out. All right, we need to move this variable. This variable needs to be on each produced thing because we might have two different things. Like there might be one that takes the primitive, like takes longer than a day, and there might be one that in the same county improvement. Have you been working on anything exciting, Stinklewinks? Or anyone in chat, if there's other people in chat. Yeah, we need to move this to the county, or to the production data. Do I have that open? I do. Oh, here's that weird math ceiling thing. Work amount left over. Today's amount generated. I think it should go here. I'm gonna export. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We need an export. What is going on? I'm holding down shift. Export. There we go. Why did I copy over that thing? Public. I can get this out of here though. I just want this part. And then we'll get rid of this. You know, I don't need to do that. We'll cut that. And then we'll go like this. Public int. Public float. We have a lot of floats. This should be an int though. It's going to cause us some issues, but we can cast stuff hopefully. And then we go to our county improvement data and we take out this. And then we should get some issues down here. Oh shit, I'm going to take a break here. We just have one issue? I don't believe you. The banker should have more of those. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. So this is going to use production data. Do we have production data in here? We don't have the production data right here. Where is this? Okay, we're going to have to do this in a different spot. We're going to have to do it here because each production data is going to need to know this number. And once again, we're going to ignore the remainders. We don't give a fuck. These are floats though? No, these are ints. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a quick break though, and then we'll do this. Now let me find my music and stop that you guys can't hear, and then I'm going to throw my break timer and I'll be back in less 5 minutes. All right, I'm back. And what the hell was I doing? Looking at all these bugs. We'll fix it. I'm not worried. So this has to go down here because we need this to be in this part. Whoops. And this needs to be, we're doing a key value pair. So key value pair dot value, it looks like, is what we're doing. Yeah, that's right there. Then we're going to do if the key value pair dot value is equal to 0, then we do that. We got a bunch more here. Let's just copy this because we're going to be using this a lot. And that's shorter, which is nice. Yeah, you just tab it for me. There, buddy. Tab to the next one. Sometimes it does this, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes we gotta, let's put this down here so we can see it. We got 3 more. We can change this one. It didn't want to, see? Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. Oh, because we don't know the key value pair here. We do here, though. Get rid of that stuff. We can tab this over. I guess we can just KD it. Control KD is the thing I love so much. We got this. Where are we at? We're adding the goods. We have the production data being passed in. So this is going to be production data. And this is going to be production data. All right. We are going to get to these messages eventually. So that fixes something. Divide, I don't know why we have this big space here, so we'll not have it there anymore. Divide the number of goods and prove, let's go back to where we're at the very top of this and go through our code again. So we go through each improvement. If these things are whatever, then we go through each product or each good that's being produced, work amount for each. We're dividing. This can't be here because we haven't done this yet. This needs to be there. We can do that. And then generate the goods produced without bonuses. This is going to be doing this every day. So it generates the goods without bonuses. We're passing in the production data, average amount. Okay, so this doesn't have anything to do. Storage amount. If this is a, what are we doing? Okay, if this is a storage thing, it does that. That's fine. Back to the banker. If the value work amount equals 0, we do that. If the work amount is less than the work cost, no good is produced. This is how we will get our fraction of work amount for each. Okay, so we have the improvement name. And then what is this, though? We don't have an if statement here. This is today's amount generated equals this, which is what we want. This is in the wrong spot now. Let's take this all. Put this down here. So we'll put a note in here. This generates, this finds the amount, today's amount generated, and if it is less, and if it is greater, that's all this does. This finds today's amount generated for each product, for each good. I'm suddenly calling them products. And it seems like, I'm talking about products. Don't listen to me. I mean, do listen to me, but don't listen to me. If the work amount is, okay. This is now, no, we need this if it's greater, if today's, we just got to rewrite this. If today's work, today's amount generated is greater than 0, it has generated goods that day. Otherwise, it is saving the work amounts for each resource until it is over. Oh, this is wrong. This needs to be 1. It's greater than 1. I did that last weekend too. Otherwise, it is saving, because 0.25 is greater than 0, or whatever. Otherwise, it's saving the work amount for each resource until it is over 1. This is how we get our fraction of completed work. I mean, yes. Okay, so if this today's amount generated, today's good amount generated is greater than 1, then we reset this. We subtract today's goods amount generated equals because this could be like 100. So actually we don't mess with that. We do work amount key value pair key value. Why isn't work amount for each resource? It's right here. Is minus equal work amount for each resource. Whoops, I got 2 of these on here. Else we add in the work amount for each resource. We keep adding this on, I think. And let's get rid of this because, well, oh, we have some work left over. Work left over. What was I? Joker, how's it going? What did I forget? Oh, my break timer. I did forget my break timer. Thank you. It was at 0. Couldn't see it over the code. What were we doing with this work amount left over? This is the remainder. Oh, I think. So I'm using 4.4 and there's some major issue with it. It hasn't happened again, but I added a new variable with export in here, and it broke everything. I just don't. I'm not going to add a new variable with export, right? That will solve the problem. And I haven't looked on GitHub to see if that's an issue. I was going to, right? It could be. Okay, so what I was doing. So the problem with this. Today's goods amount generated, we divide this by the work cost. We have this over 1. We subtract the work amount from the... No, that's right. I think this is just, I'm throwing confusion in by looking at this old code. So let's delete it. Because I think I made it better. And then we add the county resource in here. What if it's 0? We need to reset today's amount generated at some point. We need to reset it here. And we should probably make methods here. We need to reset it at the end after it's been added. Whoops, equals 0. And we'll say reset today's goods amount generated. I know it's the same thing I just wrote here, or that the code says. Resets today's goods amount generated each day for each product, for each good. Why the hell am I calling them products today? After it has applied the amount generated. Okay. Because I'm going to wonder if that's in the right spot. All right, this is like a complete rewrite of this. And so then we're going to need to go back to this thing. And see what happens. I guess we just need to see what happens. I was asking Chad earlier, Joker, any exciting projects that you're working on? I'm curious about everyone's projects. That's what always. I also have been not putting my phone on the charger lately, which is bad. We want a fisher's shed, and we want a scouting equipment, and we want to run this for 2 days, and we'll see if we get any bugs. No bugs. Okay, fish 0, wood 0, that's not right. Primitive scouting equipment is 0.6. Something's wrong. So there could be 2 different things that are going on here. We need to go up to Portland, which is right here. So we don't care about that. Work amount for each resource is 25. The fisher shed, the generated amount today is 1250. Is that right? I don't know. I don't think that number is right. If there's 5 people, it's only dividing it by 2. It should also be dividing it by this number. It should be divided by 3. Unless my... Oh, I already have a calculator open. Unless my shitty math. 2,500 divided by 3? No, yeah, it should be... It's not dividing. The sword? Getting groceries? Groceries are good. I just was talking about, I switched to the generic brand of sour cream and onion potato chips. So I wonder, that's probably been there for a while, that problem, because we didn't have. That's gonna be over here. I probably didn't add in generate goods without amount daily generated. We're getting the workers, work cost. This is the average daily amount generated. That's a different thing. Goods produced without bonuses. That's a completely different thing. This says it doesn't need a float here, I don't think. It's saying it doesn't need that. I put a thing at the end of the beginning. Let's see. We gotta go to here. Nope, not here. It's in the banker. So the banker. Yeah, so we got to do this. This needs to be county improvement data faction output goods dot count. We need this in here too. You don't like the comments? I think I actually was thinking about this before, that I need more comments. Like comments for every single line of code needs 60 comments because of some things. Some questions about code, you know, like how does stuff work? All right, so that's a different problem that we just solved, because I wasn't counting the faction output. So that is not, that doesn't really matter, but we fixed it anyways. So that is 125. Work amount for each resource. One, 2, 5, 0 divided by, it should have been divided by 2. Work amount for each resource. What is this? Work amount for each resource. All daily work amount and improvement completed divided by those two counts. So this number is way wrong. So the Fisher generated 1250, which is the wrong amount as well. Where is this? Where am I getting that? Generated. Generated today, we can look for. Okay, let's go down to, let's make this so that I can read this whole thing without. Today's goods amount generated. Okay, so that is it saying it's generated. This is the problem. This isn't work generated. This is today's goods generated. Here, we'll put this down here. We'll go like this. So that's today's goods. So that is 25. Calculator. I don't think this number is right either, though. 125 divided by 0.2. Did it again. I did it again. Times 0.02 is 25. Okay. The math is right on that. So work amount for each resource. Is this the thing I just, today's, no. Work amount for each resource. Work amount for each resource is 25. But that's not what that is. Oh, it is what that number is, but that number is not. No, it is. Am I looking at the fucking code wrong? 60. Work amount for each resource should not be that low. It should be this number. Generated today. So we're taking the work amount for each resource is going to be all daily work amount and improvement completed. Where are we getting this number? Because it should have calculate work to goods. Where is this number? Generate goods produced without bonuses. This is not what we want. Well, we might actually use that for something else. Where are we generating this number? Okay, apply work per person. So this is going through everyone in the population and adding in their skill check. Let's run this again. I feel like there's something weird going on. Work amount for each resource. That should not be as low. I think I'm assigning the wrong thing to the wrong place is what's happening. The wrong variable is getting assigned. Add storage. I keep looking at that one thing that's commented on and want to delete it. We will break these into multiple things too. All right, let's build our two things. There we go. And speed it up to 8. Wait for 2 days to pass. Check the county resource. Look at this one, says 0. So something's wrong there too. But let's go back to here. Work amount for each resource is 18. See, that's my number's wrong. Today's goods generated today. I thought I changed that too. Work amount for each resource. It's checking the right thing. This count, divide the number of goods the improvement generates by the work amount. By the number of goods. Ignore the remainder because we don't care. That's true. So the work, and this is each value is the production value. So we have this number. So at this point, yeah, we have people working in all of these places. I was thinking maybe we don't have anybody working there. What happens if we let the day go by? It's the 3rd day. Does this number adjust correctly? Because maybe it's doing it by, it does not adjust correctly. What time is it? 7? Yeah. So that's, it did not adjust. So this today's goods generated today weirdness, which I want to get rid of. That should be this number, and this should be that number. They're swapped, which makes me think kind of it's this is wrong. Work amount for each resource. County name. County name. I need some squigs in here. Improvement name. And then we'll put this down here. Work amount for each resource. Yeah, so that's going to be the higher, it should be a somewhat large number because it's like, so there's 10, or there's 5 people working there. Wait, maybe it is this number. So there's 5 people working there. Oh, that is the right number. Okay, so there's 5 people working there. They generate 10 or more each. They generate 10 or 15, but let's say that they're generating just 10 right now. So that's 50 divided by 3, though, should be let's multiply that by 3 and see if that's possible. 36 times 3 divided by 15 is 7 people. So that's not possible. So well, where is this place working at? Where are they at? This is for the Fisher's Shed. Actually, we don't know. It's this one. Work amount for each resource is 36. You know, there's a way we could check this or make this easier to check is if we go back to main here and we go to our globals, wherever the fuck they are, and we go down to this bonus and we turn it off. So that way we'll get 10 every time. And we'll run this. Man, when I first started this stream, time was kind of going medium speed. Now it's up to fast. I don't know how that happens. Humans are really terrible about understanding time. Okay, so this is actually wrong. See, these are all 0. Oh, we had that thing in there. All right, let's fix this first. Let's fix each thing as we run into it instead of like seeing something and making a note. Okay, so this is, we had that average amount generated and then I was like, oh, we need to move that because it's actually might be used later. This is the banker and I moved it down to this thing. So what we need to do is make this, oh, but it's not when it gets built. It's when it gets added to your, in the research. So under research completed is when it needs to do that. So we need to open that script up. And I can't remember exactly which scripts it's in, but I know we can start with research, hopefully. No, we cannot start with research. We need to go to, that's under faction. Man, this is crazy that this is just called research. It's under faction, AI, check if research is done. Is research done? I remember it's called something like complete research. Add all county improvements to. So what is this doing? This is completing a research and then it adds it in here. And then we go to here and it reorganizes the list. I don't think we can put a ready in a resource because the other way we could do it, maybe we can. The other way we could do it is here. And I don't think we can. Let's see if we can. Public override ready. Yeah, you can't in a resource. I was thinking like when it appears, we could take care of it. Hmm. So I'm got to think about, we could put it back, but then it's going to be doing it in two places. I have a feeling we're going to use this average thing. You know, we're not currently. So let's put it in there. We'll get rid of that average thing. We'll put this thing back where it was. I don't remember what we need for it, though. We need the key value pair. So generate input goods and generate construction costs. We're in the right spot. We are in the right spot. We need, look at all these things. I don't know why I have those in there. Generate input goods. Add output panel. Okay, so this we're doing, we're putting in a production data. We can just put in this production data here. And did I cut that from the spot or did I just copy it? It looks like I cut it. So then let's rerun this. And maybe we just don't need that. The way I'm doing the math now, I don't think we actually need that. So it should. Okay, so we have our correct numbers here now. So then let's build this. I'm going to actually put a note in, another comment in on this thing. This is going to happen. This is going to happen every time you open, or the player opens the county improvements UI or research panel. Okay, so those are done there. Let's do this. Those have been completed. A day has not passed though. So these are all at 0, but these are for yesterday, so that's okay. There's nothing was produced yesterday. So 0 is okay for those. This looks right. All right. We don't have any bugs. Let's let a day go by. So now it's day 2. These shouldn't be 0, but they still are. So that is a problem. So let's go back to what our math is under the banker. Okay, so then we can check against these things. Umatilla, we need to go to Portland. All right, so work amount for each resource is 16. There are 5 people working. That sounds pretty close. 5 people working there, so it's going to be 50. We think that there's 5 people. Yeah, so it's 16. So that's right. And then work cost is 0.2. 16 times, well, we'll make this 16. I was just going to multiply times 0.2. Nope, divide. 16 divided by 0.2 is 800. That is correct. Then we have wood amount, which has the same. We should make that different just to have a different number in there. You know, if we test with just one number, it's going to be the other. The minute we change a number, something's going to break. So let's have 2 different numbers over here. We actually need to go to Fisher's Shed, and we need to have the wood change. We'll put it 0.04, so it's more expensive. Okay, more expensive. Yeah, we're dividing that number. So this is going to generate 800, and that's going to generate 800. That number, though, is not even close to this number. This should be, this number should be like 800. So the problem is that this number is not taking into account the third thing, I think. So let's go back to that thing. That's in our improvement container. Generate goods without bonuses. This is the amount generated max workers times global instance daily worker amount divided by work cost. This number is wrong because we're not taking into account the number of we're not taking into account the number of resources here. So what we need to do is write a method that gets the number of resources in a county. Per improvement. So in the improvement data, we need to, this might be a we might be able to do this. Well, let's see. Counts number of goods getting produced. You know, my love of variable. All names should be 6,000 things. We're going to return actually int. And we're going to say int number of goods getting produced. And that's going to equal output. And then we also want this to be faction. All right, so we got this. It's, oh, we need to put the return in here. Oh, can I just put this here? I remember I tried this another time and it was like, no. Okay. I'm just doing something wrong. I know you can do that. I obviously don't know how. Number of goods produced. Produced. Okay. All right, now okay and there we got both those going on. So then down here, we're going to go int total number total amount. Wait, why are we? We're getting this total amount of work, which was something we were doing somewhere else too, I think. I think the banker was doing it. Because that was the number, all of this thing. Where were we doing that thing? Okay, this is under the banker does a skill check. It applies this number here. So this number is being added. Okay, this is only happening one per day and it gets the skill check. So we can't use that number, I was thinking for a second. Glitch Joker. Glad to see that. Are you no-viewing the hello? Because that's an very old hello. I have noticed that if I say hello on YouTube, less people come into chat. I don't know what the deal is. This number is going to be work amount, and it's going to equal this number. And I could have cut that. And then this number is going to equal, whoops. What's your problem? Oh, these are floats or something? Yeah. Max workers a float? No. Daily work amount is not a float. It must be this thing. Work cost. Oh, and we can't do it. Average daily amount generated. Average daily goods amount generated. That'll help stop me keep wondering when this number is. This is the max workers, the daily amount that they work. So 10 times 5 divided by the work cost. I guess we can make this a float. That would solve that problem. And then this, though, this number needs to be divided by that other thing we just created. Divided by count of goods produced. And then we need to put in here, get all, we'll put it actually up here. Oh god damn it. Get all of the work and then divide it by the number of resources. The other get. All right, so we have this. This currently, I'm going to make this private and see if we have a thing. I also noticed, I was getting rid of private on these. I was just making, just because I didn't need it. Like, you can just do that. But I noticed that everyone always puts the private in. I don't know about everyone. Lots of people put the private in here. So I wonder if that's like a standard or something. All right, so this should give us this amount, and that should give us that amount. So we're good back to here. We need this, though, because we are doing this math somewhere else. And we'll see if, I can't remember, I think it's on the banker, actually, where we're doing that math for something. Not there. Them getters, I forgot what I was going to say. Something about getters. Increase research amount. I think this is at the top, actually. Oh, and I guess I would be wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. Oh, there's another filler word. I'm trying to stop filler words. There, it's hard. I wonder if I do that when I'm talking to someone in real life. Like if I'm just sitting there going, check building cost, charge for building. Okay, where is this thing? Generate goods produced without bonuses. Without bonuses. Yeah, does that happen? There's like a whole negotiating tactic or diplomatic tactic. I don't know what that tactic is for. But when people are talking to you and you want them to talk more, to like kind of start spilling their guts, is you just don't say anything. You just kind of keep looking at them, and they'll keep, like, they feel it's uncomfortable, so they'll keep talking, and eventually they'll spill their guts. Generate the goods produced without bonuses. Now this is throwing me off here. This should be for UI. It's every time I see this, I'm like, what is it doing? All right, we have our goods container. So that's not where we want to be. We want to be back in the add county resources. This is the spot. What the fuck? Oh, here it is. Calculate goods for. Okay, here's the counting thing that I was talking about. So this probably needed to be public. I wonder if we could have made it static. No, we couldn't have made it static, but we could go county improvement data dot. It's still got to be public though. So we can go back to here and not that, this. And we can go back to here. Count number of goods produced. Getting produced. Number of, there we go. So we're going to do this. We're going to divide by that. We have that. Let's just rerun it since I have no idea what the hell's going on here. No idea what the hell is going on at this point. And producing our Fisher shed, producing our scouting equipment. Yes, exactly. Who's he? What's it? Something going on. And we gotta wait till day 3. Okay, so this is still has 0 and it shouldn't have. This now says 0.25, which is right, I think. Okay, and this is some bizarro number because it's divided by 3, which is what we want. And money is divided by 3 and word is divided by 3. Let's do it for fish. Let's do the math for fish just to make sure that 834 is somewhat correct. Okay, we have 5 people. They do 10 work. That gives us 50. We divide by 0.02. We have 3 goods. Yep, it's close enough. That's correct. So over to here now, we got to figure out if the math is wrong, and I have a feeling it is the math. So if the work amount for each resource is equal to 0, we say that work amount is that we get that big thing, which we haven't gotten, so that's not. I think that's a catch because there's issues if it's not there. It tries to divide by 0 or something. I'm going to put that in. I think this is here because without it, it tries to divide by 0. All right. Work cost. We have the good name and we have the work cost being produced here. And that seemed right in our thing down here. Work cost, 0.02, 0.04. That's Umatilla. Work cost is 200. Today's goods generated today. So this number doesn't seem right. 0.2, because we're still doing the math. Okay, so we do this. We do the today's goods amount generated equals the work amount for each resource divided by the work cost, which gives us that larger number for the ones that are smaller. So here's the work cost. Here's the 400. Here's the 800. 400, 800. Work amount for each resource is 16. Because we're ditching the remainder. And we're getting 800. But then this number should be 800. But we're using a float that we're converting to an int here. Ignore the remainder because we don't care about it. Work amount for each resource. So this is the amount that's been added by the actual workers. And I made it so that there's no bonus currently. There's a 0 bonus. And that is taken and divided by 3. Are we not using that number? No, I don't think we are. So then that means we got to fix, okay, now I think this is a full, do we care about the work amount for each resource? Do we care about this remainder? So we get 3, we have like whatever. We have 300, there's no, 400 would give us, let's look at 400. Did I close my calculator? So let's pretend we have 400 work and divide by, well, the number's never that big. Let's say it's 40. Well, let's say it's 50 since that's the real number. Divided by 3 is 16, but we're losing the 0.16. And then so this is 116. That's what this number is 16. And then we multiply, let's say we took this number and we multiplied it, we divided it by the amount of work. That's where it's getting that number because of the remainder. But on this one, if we divide it by this, yeah, that's the problem. So one of these has a remainder and the other one doesn't. This one does not have the remainder. And, you know, it seems like it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but the 0.02 is actually like a big small number. You know what it has a lot of big smalls in it. So there we go. So let's go back to our thing here. That's in the county improvement data. Without bonuses for UI. This is a float. And I made this a float. And this is an int. Average daily amount generated. Work amount. But we needed it to be a float because down here, we need this number. So this needs to be a float. So we either need to do it with floats all around or not. So we do care about this remainder after all. That was in the banker. Work amount for each resource. These are all ints that are coming back here, though. So that's not going to do us any good anyways. All daily work amount. We could turn it into a float. This could be an int. I'm trying to think of the best and easiest way, but I mean, I guess it does add up. It's like 34 work or something. So we do need to make this a float, I guess. It's going to kind of mess up something. All daily work amount actually, we don't need to make this a float. So this number should always be an int. It shouldn't be a float. This one shouldn't be. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, fine, we'll go to it. Now get out of here. And this should also, but this one, work amount for each resource, does need to be a float. Because it might be, we do care about, we should probably get some errors down here or something. Or not. Because we do care about that remainder. Because it does matter a bunch, but I think what it's going to do is going to cause some other weird math later. And we'll have to like cut off, we'll have to do something. Let's see here. So that's 83494 whatever. The scouting equipment, that's still all correct. We'll build this thing. And then we'll build this thing. And we'll close that. And day 0, I mean, it's day 1. 0, 0, 0, 0. That shouldn't have changed, so. Whoops. We have to wait for another day to happen. There we go. What does this say? That's these numbers are wrong, obviously. But what about over here? Portland. So this number shouldn't be 800 though. Work amount for each resource. Did I not save this shit or something? Well, production data was not saved. Slow progress today, you know? This kind of happened with the resources too. It was kind of a pain to get the math to work out right. Now I appreciate the certain parts of strategy games that I've played, and I'm like, why is this number so bizarre? Why is this number so weird? What is going on here? Turns out you gotta fuck around with all these different things, floats and ints and all that shit. All right, this is still zeros, but down here, work amount for each resource seems to be wrong. So we have 5 people working at each spot. Oh, that's Umatilla. There we go. This still says 800. And this is 834. Did I not save that? Where? That's the banker? No, the banker is saved. So this is now a float. This is an int. And this is an int. So I think if we float this, will it do the math? Will it turn this into a float before it does the math? I assume that's what it does. I'm going to take a break here in a second. Maybe I won't forget to turn off my break timer when I come back. I just want to run this one more time here. 834. And those numbers are still zero. I think this is something else. 0.5. Okay, that's a different thing. All right, so here we got our thing. So what we got to do, I don't know. I think I put a little thing in here that sealing this on these other ones. We probably need a rounding thing, not a ceiling, because this should be lower and this should be higher. Or probably floor it, like just have it dump off anything extra. But we're on the right path. I'm going to take a quick break here, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes. Let me throw that up. Let me pause my music that you can't hear, and I'll be right back. didn't take the food, you didn't eat the food. Why would you get food? More food. Talking to my cat when I came back. This time, I will not forget the break timer. There we go. my cat's like, it's time for you to give me attention. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm busy, kitty. Usually the kitty figures out what, when I put on my headset that I'm not listening to it. All right, what the fuck were we doing? So, it would be nice to be able to fix this number right now so that we can see what is going on. And these are probably ints or something. No, it would just drop off the remainder. Let's fix those numbers real quick. Produced yesterday. Produced yesterday is work amount for each resource. No, this is no longer here. We're not doing any math here. This is going to be... what is this number? Today's goods generated. This is going to be production data. Today's goods generated. And this is work cost divided by... So that one's work amount for each resource is work cost. I think we're clearing... No, we're clearing out today's amount generated in that one spot, so we can't clear it out there. We got to clear it at the beginning. We got to at the beginning of those calculations, not at the end, because if we clear it at the end, it's always going to say 0. So good name, average. Okay, we don't give a shit about that. What we need to do is we need to go to our banker. We need to get the 0 out of here, and this needs to be at the top. Of this. And then reset today's good amount for each day, for each good after it has resets today's good amounts generated before it does all the calculations. It needs to keep this number for the UI, the player UI, until it does the math. All right, let's run this again. Now the kitty has given up and gone to the bed. He's gonna be bummed. I take a nap after I stream, and he's gonna be bummed. I don't let him sleep in my bed while I'm streaming or sleeping, because he will never let me sleep. Sometimes I say, okay, this time you can. And then he always kicks me awake or something, or stands on me or something. So I put him outside, and he doesn't like that. Let's speed this up. Oh, it's smaller. All right. I was thinking about, I didn't have to scroll before, and I don't have to scroll because a bunch of shit turned off. All right. Fish 500, wood 250, money 0. That doesn't seem right. Primitive scouting equipment is wrong. Zero, 500, 250. Oh, this should be a different number, actually. Let's go back up to here. But it should be somewhat similar to this number. So this is putting out the goods produced today as 500. It actually should be, well, it depends on how many people are working there, because it's fully staffed numbers. So we have 5 people there. This number should match this number with 5 people working there. So we got something wrong here. So this resets it to 0. Work amount for each resource. We take all of the dailies, their floats. What number was this? 500? We have the work amount for each resource. Work amount for each resource. That's Umatilla. $30. That's scouting equipment. 16 is what we got. 16.666 there. So we should, today's goods. Where is this with the extra today on it? Today's goods amount generated. So how the fuck did it get 500? So it's taking all of the work amount, which is an int, but we're converting the int to a float. And let's check this number. Work amount for each resource, which I just looked at, but so that's 16.666, whatever. Work amount, so this is the float number. We converted it to a float and it's there. And we're seeing that it's there. And then we have this, we shouldn't be doing any math in here. Here's the math. Nope. No, in the banker, this is right. Is our float today's amount generated? Do we know this number? Work cost, today's amount generated, it's using this here. And that is the correct number. Yep. And so we're going to go, then we add this to the resources. We'll deal with that. We'll double check that later. And so that's this number. We always get this for today. And if this is, we keep this work amount, which would be a different issue, but okay, so the UI seems to be the problem. So on this one, this is a float. If the average daily goods amount generated is greater than 0, are we doing anything to this number in here? We shouldn't be anymore. Average daily amount generated. If it's not equal to producing, it does that. And then the good label is the good name, production data, today's goods amount generated. Or it takes the work amount. So if this is greater than 0, if this is greater than 1, then it should do this. It was still wouldn't have, that wouldn't have affected this one thing. Average goods amount generated. At this point, we should have that one number, so we don't have to use, if today's goods generated is greater than 1, then we do this. We show the total goods amount generated, else we show the work amount in this. Yeah, so this should be that. This should be that. And we didn't have to put the translation thing here, the thing I was talking about. If it's not producing, then we don't do that. So if it was greater than 0, it should be today's amount generated. I wonder why this number is different. Is everything saved on here? Looks like it. We still have this research thing open. We don't need that. And we wait. And we wait with no ums or anything in there. All right, so we have the 834 is the amount of... Okay, so now this is under construction. So that number's right still, though it is a bit strange. Though the number is a bit strange. What's going on? He doesn't... So I've been like... One day I was sitting here and I was bored. And so I just started petting him. And now he's like, oh, I need those pets all the time. Okay, so 16. Well, so I was like sitting here like, what am I going to do next? And I was like, oh, I don't feel like playing video games. I don't feel like watching TV, watching TV. Oh, if you guys could see what he's doing right now. He just reached out and put his paw in my hand. He's like, pet me, please. So I was just sitting, I was like, I don't have anything to do. And I looked down and he was just staring at me. And yeah, we need a simulator, watching TV. It's like the paint dry thing. So I just started petting him for like 30 minutes and he was just in ecstasy, giving butt pats. And now he's just like, if I sit here, maybe he'll do it. And then he does this little thing. He'll reach out and he'll be like, meh. You know that I don't know if it's a meme. It's like the ant, not Hello Kitty. Is it Hello Kitty? Whoops, I got an extra O in there. No, it's not Hello Kitty. There's like that little thing, the paw cat thing. Like this kind of, but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. But anyways, he reaches out his paw now and he's like, just for a little, he's an addict. He's an addict to the pets. All right, he seems to be okay now. All right, what were we doing? So this number's now right. This number's now, oh, he did it again. This number's now wrong. It is, oh, look at the money. The money's wrong too. It's double what it should be. So this number, we'll deal with the remainders in a second here with the decimal points. So how are we doing this here? Let's double check that this number is right. So we have 5 people times 10 work gives us 50 divided by 3 and gives us 16 whatever divided by 0.02. Yeah, this number over here is right. Oh, kitty. Oh, kitty. He's like, I know the hand gives me love. It pets me. Well, oh, there is a watching Jolt games. This better not be porn. Can you get better TVs? What's the game? This is kind of like how my bed is. I don't have any lamps or anything. I need lamps. It's crawling around in the dark. Man, I used to fall asleep on my couch all the time. That was the best. Oh, I can download it, or is that the pictures? I don't want to download it. It seems like a virus. This is not a serious game. Please read the README file and credits. If you make a video of this game, put in the description what? Oh, so you don't get a copy straight. Oh, this guy made one too. What's Jolt Games? I like this, just watch TV. Please make it where I can play without downloading it. They need dates on this. Like achievements built into the app. Oh, it's like itch. I've never even heard of it. And when Jolt makes me think of the cola. So I have a thought here of why this isn't working. Let's go back to the banker. It's just one. It's barely a thought, a concept of a thought. So it goes through this thing. Okay, it is resetting this every time. I was worried that it wasn't resetting this every time. Then it does this math. This is in the banker, so we're in good. This is a good place for this to be. Well, we know this is doing this right. The problem is the UI. So the UI is producing it wrong. Today's goods amount generated. Oh, he's meowing. Cat's meowing. Generate goods produced without bonuses for UI. Okay, so this is not affecting what I was worried we were doing something there. Better keep my partial thought here. My partial thought was wrong. Today's good generator is greater than this. We do today's goods amount generated. I wonder if we're affecting this number somewhere else. We're multiplying it by 2. Yeah, this is in the banker. Work amount for each resource. Minus the work cost. Oh, you know what the problem is? I know what the problem is. Let's let another day go by. Yeah, so now it's not clearing out this number. It's not that it's doing the math wrong. It's just that it did the 2 days pass, so it's like just stacking up those numbers. Yep. So this isn't getting cleared. Today's goods amount generated is getting added to it when it needs to be. This is new. Says equals though. Work amount for each resource might be the problem. So the work amount for each resource is probably going up every time. So we have this. It's supposed to subtract itself from itself. That doesn't seem right. All right, let's go back up here because I don't think we got to that. Work amount for each resource equals this amount. But we're not adding it on an addition. What does this say over here? Because we let a couple of days go by. Yeah, and this is still going up. Work amount for each resource is still going up. Work amount for each resource is, so it should go up by like the same amount. Yeah, it is. So work amount for each resource, what is going on here? This should be resetting this. Oh, but then we get down to here and this is adding on last times. But why isn't this resetting it? Well, this is obviously wrong. Today's goods amount generated equals the work amount for each resource divided by the work cost. So we're good up to here. And then this is where it gets strange. If today's amount generated is greater than 0, if today's amount generated is greater than 1, it has generated goods that day. Otherwise, it's saving the work amount for each resource. So we don't need to do this. But we do need that. But it doesn't need to be this. It can't be subtracting itself from itself, because that doesn't work. So we have a number. So for this today's goods amount generated, there's going to be a remainder on some of these. Let's think about this. I don't want that. I want this. So we made 50. We have 50 work, and we divide that by, actually we're doing this work amount for each resource. We take the work amount, so let's say it's 50. It's not 50, but let's say it's 50. And the work cost is 200. So that gives us 0.25. All right. So that, then it goes to here. And it's supposed to subtract 1 days of work for here, but that's not going to work, right? Because it's subtracting itself, so there's something bizarre going on here. If it's greater, well, it would actually have gone to here. So if it's less than 1, is what it should have been. Well, I don't know what it should have been. Let's just delete this. So what we want, though, so if it's less than 1, if you haven't created 1, we need to have it so that and we're at 0.25, we need to keep that 50 work there. So we don't do anything. So I don't think we do anything. So if it's greater than 1, though, we can't delete the whole work amount. We can't say work amount equals 0 because it might have some leftovers that should go into the next production. So we need work amount we had that work amount leftover thing. So we would go work amount leftover. Do we even need that? So we have the work amount for each resource. That's going to get reset every time, though, right here. So this is supposed to be getting reset every time here, because this is, equals, not plus equals. So we have the work amount for each resource. Nope. Per day. So this is the day one. We do this math. So we get that this is like for today. For today. And then we go through this for today. For some reason, I'm capitalizing all those. And then if the work amount for each resource equals 0, we bail out of this because we don't give a fuck. And then the work cost we have here. And so we should have like these two lines that are happening. in the console. And then today's goods amount generated, we take the work amount for each resource for today and we divide it by the cost. That's not true. I mean, it is true currently, but it's not going to work down here. What we should do is plus equals work amount for today. So we get we take the work amount for today and add it to the work amount left over because there might be some shit left over. Then we divide this shit, work amount left over, by the work cost because once again there might be shit left over. And then if we produced stuff, we need to take this number and this should equal minus equal today's goods generated, this whole line we want, times. So we don't have a number. So we have the total goods amount generated for today, and we take that number and we multiply it. I feel like we already have this number somewhere. So we go through. I got to do this with like a sample numbers in my head. So we have the total amount. Let's say this is the amount working is 50. So each resource. So we have 50 work amount for each resource for today. So we're at 50. And then we need to go to this. This is next. We get the total goods generated, which is by dividing that number. Actually, I guess we could just put this back, get rid of this thing. So we have this number. So we take 50 and we divide it by 5 or whatever. Or we take 50 and we divide by 5. Work amount left over. So we did need this here. So we have the 50, and we're for the first day, we're adding the 50 in there, and we divide by 5, and let's say the work cost is 5. That's going to get our total amount generated. So we have 50, amount left over would be 50. We divide by 5, and we would get 10 things generated. So then we go over to here. It's greater than this. If it's greater than 1, we need to take out the amount of work generated for this day. If it's generated No, we need to take out the cost. The work cost needs to be removed. Times work cost, which is what we just did up here. We divided it. We need to subtract that. God damn it. Because some of the numbers aren't going to be as simple as like 5. There's going to be leftovers. So the leftover, let's say we're doing it with the one thing. We have 100 left over. The work cost is 200, and the next day it generates 150. It seems like we're dividing to get this number up here. And then we're multiplying to get it over here. Or then we're subtracting that same number. Oh, we're not. We're doing a different number. Work amount left over. Okay, so I think that's right. And then if it's less than 0, though, what do we do? Or if it's less than 1, so that you're partially there. If today's goods amount generated is 0.25, I think we can just do this all the time. Because if this is 0, we would subtract 0 from here. So if today's goods amount generated is 0, you didn't make any. Oh, except this needs to be an int then. 0.25. No, we do need this. So if this isn't, if it's greater than 1, we do this. Otherwise, we just have this work left over. But this is a float. So we need to change this to an int. Why is this a float? Today's goods amount generated. I think we need to keep this an int. It can't be a float. You can't have partial. We can't have partial amount. Yeah, this has to be a float or an int because you can't have partial amounts generated. And we'll have to deal with that when it gets its shit together here. That's not where I wanted to go. There we go. All right, so we're back to this thing. It can't get to this as an int because this is a float. This is a float. This is a float, and this is a float. So we need to cast one of these as an int. Work amount left over or work cost. We can't do work cost because work cost can be less. Work amount left over, we need to make this an int. Oh, it won't let me. I thought if I did one of these, it would do it. We can't do this math. Maybe we do the math first. And then with our float, we convert it over. Maybe we do the math first. We call it float. Today's goods float or something equals this. And then this is going to equal today's good float, but we int this thing. And then we have a whole number. And I think if you int a float, you just lose the. I'm almost 99% positive. You just lose the things beyond the decimal point, which is what we want. And then if we're down to here, today's goods amount generated, if it's greater than 1, we take the work amount and we subtract today's goods amount generated times the work cost. So the work cost would be, let's think about this with a little one, with a little guy. So we have, good God, this song is awful. I don't know what it is. Jesus Christ. Man, they hired this new guy at the coffee shop, and he's now finally comfortable to start playing his own music, and he plays like elevator music in the coffee shop. It's blowing my mind every time I go in there. It's so weird. It's such a strange choice. What was I testing here? All right, so we have this isn't going to work because if we look at a Fisher shed and we look at the production data for fish, it's 0.02. So let's say we made 50 of those, and we times that 0.402. We're just going to have one, and we're going to have one work amount left over. Why am I struggling with this? Every once in a while, I run into something where it's obvious, but I just can't wrap my head around. Then suddenly it'll just be like, oh wait, I just got to do this. All right, so let's look at this again. If today's amount generated is greater than 1, the work amount left over, what are we assigning up here? We're work amount for each resource per day. So we have this work amount left over number, which we're dividing by the work cost, which is today's float. We do that, today's goods amount generated. Then we have this today's goods amount generated. If you've created the goods, we need to get rid of the amount, basically the amount that's the cost of the things, the amount of things you made by the cost. Like how many, but there could be leftovers because you're just like for the scouting goods or scouting stuff, it's going to be just using like work left over. You're going to be like generating these work left over for a while, and then you finally do it, but you might have a little bit left over. So if we took this no we need to multiply that today's good, so that's going to be 1. So that number is going to be 1. For in this particular case, that number, today's amount, goods amount, but we need to subtract the work cost. So let's do this. If this equals 1, equal to 1, then we need to subtract the work cost. That's it. That's all we need to do. We know that we've taken the work amount left over. If today's goods equals 1, we subtract that. And then we need to go back to the UI here. And this should be showing if today's goods amount generated is greater than or equal. No, if it's greater than 1, we show that shit. Otherwise, we're going to show leftovers here. If it's greater than 1, we show that. Otherwise, we show these leftovers versus the work cost. So we know that that should work, but let's see what it does. I totally was hoping to get, I even almost said, like, I'm the same shit I always say every time I start a stream where I'm like, oh, we're almost done with this section, but this is taking way longer than I thought. This one particular thing. Okay, so that's that. This is this. Whoops. 0.25. The thing's built. There we go to here. See, I'm confused by why money is throwing it off there. 3,000. Where the fuck is it getting that number? Today's good amount generated. If it's isn't equal to producing, is this a thing where it's like counting up again? Like this is 1,500. See, once again, it's supposed to be, and the money thing's weird too. Today's goods amount generated for this thing here, are we not setting that in the right spot? That's quite possible that we're not setting it. That's the banker again. Today's goods amount generated. We're inting this. Maybe it doesn't work the way I think it works. The value is production data. I guess it would have given us an error. We are inting this the today's goods float. We'll put this here. We're doing it here though. And we need to put this in. It needs to be this one. Because we're inting that. So this is work amount left over. But there's another problem we got here. We're never resetting the work amount left over for the other things. So it's always going to be, it's just going to be stacking this shit up. So if this is equals 1, we subtract the work cost. I'm just gonna put it, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna make this a switch later or something, but I gotta think this through here. If today's amount generated is greater than 1, then we need the work. Once again, we can have some leftover work amount even for this number. Work cost. See, the problem is that some of these are lower. So we can't multiply it. So if it's 0.02, we can't say work cost times the total today's amount generated because we just get some weird little number. we need to divide. We need to know what we started with, which is work amount for each resource. Which is right here. So we have work amount for each resource. If it's equal to 1, we got to take the work cost out. If the amount that we generated today is greater than 1, no, we can't do the work amount for each resource today because it's going to be it could be like a half thing where it just barely pushed it over. You know, it could be like 2.5 or something. We take the work cost, we take work amount left over, and we subtract the work cost, the total today's. We need this thing. It's right here. 2. And we divide it by the work cost, I guess, because that will give us the bigger number. No, the other way around. If we made 5 and the work cost is 0.2, if we go 0.2 divided by 5, nope. 5 divided by 0.2. Why am I struggling with this? No. This is right. Okay. You know, sometimes this shit doesn't work. So if this equals to 0, we take off the work cost. If it's greater than 1, we reduce this amount. But this is kind of like the same. This is kind of the same number. It's not. It's not the same number. And we reduce it from the work amount left over. And then if it's less than 1, we don't do shit to it. We just keep the work amount left over there, I think, because we haven't done anything. The other way we can do this is we could compare the work. I think there's a way to do this with some getting remainders as well. We'll figure it out here. Well, not today. We're already at the 3-hour mark, but we'll figure it out soon. Let's do that. And hopefully here we're getting closer. I'm going to call it a day very soon, but my cat's sleeping on the bed. He gave up. Yeah, I wouldn't give him the pets that he wanted. I gave him some. I think he's getting food at a different house now, which I'm totally okay with, because he's not into the food that I get him right now, and that's happened before. All right, we're at day 2. These numbers don't look right. This one looks right. $40 is the right amount too. All right, so we have some. This is a float. This is an int. This is a float. Today's amount generated. We're resetting that at the top, I believe. Yes. And we never reset the work amount left over. Today's goods amount generated equals this thing. What does this inting thing tell us? Today's goods generated is negative whatever. What is this inting? It's a negative. Okay, so the inting doesn't work how I think it's working. We're inting this number. I thought I could just put an int on here. This is an int, and this is a float. Float to int, is there like a float to int thing in here? Float to int. How do I convert a float to an int? C#, convert float to int. When converting a float, you can do this. When converting between integers and floating points, you can do this, but you can't do this. Some float. Okay. I want to beer. How's it going? I want to truncate. Well, let's think about that. Truncate. Yeah, definitely truncates. It's coming in negative. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong. Work amount left over. So this is, let's say, work amount left over is 50 divided by 0.02. Work cost. And then we have this float. This is a float. This is a float. But then down here, it's coming out negative some crazy number. Today's goods, work amount left over. Maybe this isn't, do we have this somewhere in a thing? We don't. Let's put maybe this is not work amount left over equals amount of work for each, okay. We're adding that onto there. It should be like 0 at the beginning, so maybe it's not 0. Let's check one of these. Yeah, it should be 0 to start with. Work amount for each resource for today. So that's going to be the big number. Well, like 50. It should be 50 divided by 3. So it's going to be like 16.6 whatever. And so then this is going to be added onto this, which is a float. So this is going to be, this work amount left over is like this is going to be the gibberish, 16.666 whatever, times this, or divided by this amount. Let's go. So it's going to be 16 point whatever, divided by 0.02. So that should give us this number. So like about 833.3 forever. So that should give us to this float, and then we're going to truncate that shit, I was hoping. But when we int, let's try it again. Maybe it wasn't saved or something. It's definitely saved. And this is the int we want. I feel like there's just like a divide or a multiply, except it's going to a negative. It's becoming a negative number. All right, let's do it one more time here. Let's make sure everything else is saved. Everything looks like it, but we can go to there just to check. It could be also something else. See, it should be like that. it could be something like the UI is, no, it's doing it down here. So let's check after day one. These should all be zeros. It's actually fine. I mean, it's not what we want to show, but it's the numbers that are zeros. Yeah, then we get into this weird negative thing. And it's not the... Let's do this. Let's GD print this thing before we do that. Before the inting. I know. And let's see what this number is, because maybe something's happening to it that I'm not. I'm doing something weird to it. Actually, we need this though. We need this today's. That's the one we need too. Before the inting. Before. Inting makes me think of ints though, you know, like from Lord of the Rings, ints. Normally it doesn't, but today it is, because I'm saying inting. Though I don't think is where did they use inting as a term in Lord of the Rings? I haven't read Lord of the Rings in 400 years. Whoops. All right, let's do that again. All right, one more time here. We gotta wait for day 2. There we go. Before the inting, it's a negative number. I mean, I'm initializing it right here to this. We have the work cost here. We don't have the work amount left over. So maybe maybe it's dividing by 0. Work amount left over. That could be the thing. It should give me a divide by 0 error though. So this is getting added onto here. I guess we'll figure out what the work amount for each day. We're adding that onto there. Oh, they don't? Well, that's good to know. Let's see what this is. Maybe this work amount for each resource day is getting thrown off. I mean, it should bail out. They'll go to assigned infinity. I had some crazy, I don't know what was happening, but I had some actually last weekend or the weekend before where these were just showing as infinity. I don't remember what I did to fix it. Work amount for each resource we actually have on here. What does this say? Yeah, so that's this number. And when we get to work amount, we have it there. And it's just adding it on to the work amount left over. But let's see what this is, just in case something weird is happening. I'm hoping I can just fix this negative number and then call it a day, but maybe not. It'll give us something fun for tomorrow, right? work work with a negative number. Figure out what is fucked up here. Okay, I still see a negative number here. What is going on there? I mean, we got the that's work cost. Work amounts. Are we in? I don't think we're fucking with this thing any place but right here. This is in the container. This is just, yeah, that's a slash, but it's not really a slash. That's in text. All right, I'm gonna put this right here just to see. I'm gonna put it right here. I don't think it really matters, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Work amount for each resource for today. You know what I should do? Actually, is I should have closed and opened Godot because there was that weird shit earlier in that where that inspector broke. That's what I totally should have done. Though it seems like C sharp would be the problem, not Godot. And I find that, yeah, I see negative numbers over here. Let's see. So 30, we're literally adding 30 onto here. What if we put this up one? Why would I have a bunch of zero? Maybe we need to set it. No, we can't set it to zero because we could set it to zero at some point, but I bet you it's fucking Godot though. I bet you Godot's this thing isn't showing what the real number is. Now that I think about it, so where I was just looking in the county resource or the county improvement data, where I like looked and I said, "Oh, this is 0.0." I bet you it's something is wrong. Okay. Before the inting, more amount of work left over. So yeah, it's a negative number right there. I haven't set up breakpoints working on the on Visual Studio and Godot. I every time I say I'm about to, then I just don't. I haven't done it. Um, and I should, and I should have done it like 6 months ago or a year ago. That's what I should have done. But, and I should do it still. I just haven't. It probably can. It can't be that big of a pain in the ass. I don't even. We don't even need to build the other one. We'll just build this one. Actually, just let's make it so that it's the same of what I was doing. You know, why change what I'm doing all of a sudden? It's weird that that number was going down. Oh, I guess it was from being built things. Mm. There's one thing we could do too, just out of curiosity. We could just change one of these. I'm just curious. What are we on here? Fish? Fish? It's always fish. You know, it could be. Also, I'm not 100% sure. Well, no, the production data should be unique because I made it unique in the inspector. But I haven't. One of the things I need to test is. Uh, One of the things I need to test is that make sure that these other things are, or that the resources are getting copying correctly, because some of them don't. We did change. No, I just got rid of stuff on there though. I didn't add anything to it. Production data, I did add something. There's not much in here. What was the other thing I was going to check? Uh, Dev 4. That just says their shit's ugly. These all say Dev 4 on them? There's fucking 6 pages. Some of these are probably June 1. That's okay. So it's talking about Dev 4. Yeah, it came out yesterday. Let's do this. Because that weird shit that was earlier uh, was where I changed something. I added a exported variable and the inspector broke. That wasn't. I need a this shit at the bottom. Let's go back to this. Whoops, not Linux. Let's go back to here. Delete this thing. And then at least we'll know it's not. I mean, I guess it could still be, but I don't remember having any negative flow issues. I think I remember having one, but it was my fault. I don't need the localization right now. Let's blast this stuff. Godot Sharp is open. Yes, it is. I only stopped my game there. One of these days, I'm going to get they're going to put this 3D hex thing I've been waiting for. Not for this game, but the 3D hex thing I've been waiting for. And they're talking about putting it in Godot 4.4. I don't know if that's going to work how I think it is. That's kind of an interesting thing down there. I assume it's because I just rolled it back. let's just do the Fisher's Shed only and see what happens. There could be some other, well, we look for it though. Yeah, this is still, so there's something with my code in here. All right, well, let me put a note in. Negative. Maybe fresh eyes will make it look better. Negative. Work left over is jacking shit up. There we go. Come on. There we go. Convert this to an issue. All right. That is it for me today. Evier, thank you for the help with the floats and things and the infinity. Thanks for your help with infinity. All right. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you.